Gentlemen, start your engines.
If you've been following along with our videos, you know that we've uploaded a handful of He Drove What videos, which focus on unique relief driver situations. That series gave us the idea to branch off and bring you a companion video of He Drove What, where we highlight unique instances of different times that a driver made one start in a unique car for various reasons. Through the years, Dale Earnhardt has had a handful of drivers make a start in his Busch Grand National Series car. We saw drivers such as Jody Ridley, Kenny Wallace, Michael Waltrip, and David Bonnett make appearances behind the wheel for Earnhardt's team. The 1993 Busch Series season finale at Atlanta Motor Speedway saw another name added to that list, and it unfortunately turned out to be an extra special moment in history for the driver. Earnhardt's close friend Neil Bonnett returned to racing in 1993 after recovering from injuries suffered in a crash at Darlington in 1990. He started 20th and finished 34th at Talladega after going for a wild ride before ending the race back in the broadcast booth. The Busch Grand National Series was not originally scheduled to finish up at Atlanta, but a March 13th blizzard postponed the race to be the new season finale. As Earnhardt looked to be wrapping up his 6th Winston Cup championship in the Cup Series season finale, Bonnett piloted Earnhardt's number 3 car in the Busch Series event on Saturday. The feel-good story didn't last long as Bonnett's car broke loose on the 84th lap and slammed into the wall on the driver's side. Thankfully, he climbed out of his car on his own and was checked and released from the Infield Care Center. As he finished off his interview with ESPN's John Kernan at the Infield Care Center, Bonnett joked around that the toughest part was going to be having to face Earnhardt.
For a change, I was having a lot of fun.
Yeah, but I mean, you're okay. You checked out okay.
Yeah, but now I got to go face Earnhardt. That could be the hard part.
Hey, are you okay for tomorrow, Neil?
Oh, yeah, I'm all right. I just, me and Dale's going hunting this weekend. I got to make sure he don't shoot me now.
Bonnett finished 35th that day. The following day, he started 35th in the Winston Cup race and finished 42nd. It tragically turned out to be the final 2 starts of his career after he lost his life at Daytona in February of 1994. Speaking of 1994, after Ernie Irvan was critically injured in a practice crash at Michigan International Speedway in August of 1994, it left plenty of holes to be filled. Irvin's number 28 Winston Cup car, one that was in contention for the championship alongside of Earnhardt, was filled by Busch Series driver Kenny Wallace. Irvin occasionally drove in the Busch Series in a number 28 Mack Tools Ford for himself, and that seat was empty for the upcoming race at Bristol International Raceway. Enter Irvin's friend and fellow Winston Cup star Mark Martin into the picture. As Irvin laid in a hospital bed in critical condition, Martin qualified the number 28 car 17th. News broke at the start of the TV broadcast that Irvin was soon to be taken off the ventilator because his lungs made a positive turn. That news was better than anything that could happen in the race itself. Martin had a rather uneventful day behind the wheel of that beautiful yellow and white Ford and brought the car home 10th. Harry Gant retired from Winston Cup Series action following the 1994 season, but his itch to drive pulled him out of retirement in 1996, announcing that he would be racing a limited schedule in the Craftsman Truck Series. His first race was scheduled to be in June, but a frightening crash in the Winston Cup Series race at Talladega in May changed those return plans just a little bit. Bill Elliott's car went airborne, leaving the former champion with a broken leg. This led to Tommy Kendall driving the number 94 McDonald's car at Sears Point the following race, and an open seat for the annual running of the Winston Select at Charlotte. Enter handsome Harry Gant, who was tabbed to sub for Elliott. I haven't been in a Winston Cup car since I quit a year and a half ago. I hadn't really thought about it a lot. When they first called me, that's when I first thought it would be really nice to get back down there and run, Gant said. He was then asked if he was going to continue to fill in for Elliott while he was out and injured. Gant went on to say that he was just looking forward to see how it goes in the Winston Select. He started the race 14th and finished 15th out of 20 cars in what turned out to be the final Winston Cup appearance of his legendary career. The 2000 Brickyard 400 saw 2 instances of drivers making an appearance in a unique car. Two-time Winston Cup champion Terry Labonte was injured in a crash at Daytona, fracturing his left shin and sustaining a concussion. The driver, who at the time held the record for most consecutive starts, toughed it out the following week at New Hampshire, pushing his record-setting streak to 654 consecutive starts. He was unfortunately involved in another hard crash very early on, which aggravated his injuries, but that again didn't keep the Iceman out of the seat of the number 5 car. He started the following race at Pocono, but eventually gave way to Rich Bickle. When Labonte arrived at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Brickyard 400, things didn't really go as planned. He practiced the car on Wednesday, but only made one lap before pulling the car back in and complaining of dizziness, saying that he had a hard time focusing. Todd Bodine qualified the car for Labonte the next day, as the injured driver flew back home to Charlotte to get checked out by the doctor who was treating his unfortunate list of injuries. Everything checked out and Labonte returned to the track, but after practice on Friday, he decided that it would be best if he just sat out for the next 2 races. Bodine was tapped to drive the 400 for Labonte, ending his record-setting streak at 655 consecutive starts. Friday turned out to be a wild news day as Jeremy Mayfield was knocked unconscious following a practice crash. The number 12 car got a little bit loose before snapping around and slamming into the wall on the driver's side. There were reports that the number 97 car of Chad Little was dropping oil on the track, which could have easily led to the trouble with Mayfield. It took track rescue workers almost 10 minutes to get the driver out of his car. Mayfield soon regained consciousness and was taken to a local hospital and diagnosed with a concussion. He was soon released from the hospital, but was quickly listed as out for the Brickyard 400 the following day. Mayfield said, "I feel fine. The doctors and I kind of disagreed on whether or not I could race, but it's their decision and I'll go with it. It tears me up to not be in that race car, but I guess in the long run, it's the best thing." Mayfield, who qualified 4th for the race before his practice crash, was driving the same car that he won at Pocono with in June. Kyle Petty, who was preparing for second round qualifying, handed his number 44 car over to Steve Grissom, who failed to qualify for the event. This opened Petty up to drive the number 12 car in the race. "The circumstances aren't very good, obviously, but me and these guys are going to do everything we can to give this car a good ride tomorrow," Petty said. Mayfield's teammate Rusty Wallace took the number 12 backup car out during happy hour and tried to get it ready for the race. Petty had to go to the rear of the field for the start of the race since he didn't qualify the car. He eventually brought the number 12 car home 32nd in the race. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this, make sure to check out the rest of our content and click that subscribe button to be the first to know when we drop more videos.